But before I ask my final question that I have to ask
Mm-hmm.
that comes on this show, got a couple relatively rapid fire
Mm-hmm.
questions for you. If they not
Mm-hmm.
rapid, that's okay. But what's your favorite piece that you've written?
Ooh. Ooh. Wow. That's a good question. That's a really, really good question. Wow.
You've written a lot of pieces though, bro. Like
Yeah, I've written.
when I was
You
on the
know.
road, and I'm like, bro, wait, he has like three stories coming out like a
Oh
day
yeah. Well, yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes I'll have stories that are like, okay, basic news stories that aren't I'm not super proud about, but I'm like, okay, I got it out. And there's some stories where like, man, I knew it. Because like, for example, I just wrote a story last night. I said it already about Dylan Brooks, and I was like, I was watching the game last night. I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm gonna do with this. I know exactly how I'm gonna come with this, and it worked out. Man, my favorite story I've written, my favorite story I've written. Man, that's tough. That's really, really tough. Okay. I got a couple in mind. Um, I interviewed Benny the Butcher, which was really cool. That's one of my favorite ones, just because I love, a lot of, I always hear like, people say, don't be a fan of these people, but I'm a fan of these people that I interview, and I try to act like that, not like fanboying the whole time, but I try to be like, yo, I remember when I first heard this, and uh, you know, trying to let artists know that like, yo, I'm actually a fan of the work, and that's why I want to cover you. So, Benny the Butcher, I wrote a story on him that I really enjoyed writing about. I did a story on an artist called Barty Strange. He's kind of an alternative artist, but he does like R&B and little hip hop in his music. I did a story on him that I really, really, really enjoyed um, writing about. I'm trying to think of something else I wrote about that I really enjoyed. Oh, something recently that I did that I really, really was proud about. Even I don't think a lot of people read it, but it's something I'm really proud about. I did like a look back of like Kendrick Lamar's "To Remember Butterfly," and honestly, I did it, and I think it was like on the anniversary, the next day of like his album. It was like an 8 year anniversary. Is that year? 2015. Pimp Butterfly came out in 2015, right? Yeah, so it was 8 year anniversary. Um, and I did a story revisiting that album, and I felt like I did a really good job writing that. That's another piece I really enjoy writing about. Um, that's just like recent, but yeah, man, Benny, I really enjoyed writing Party Strange. That's another story I really enjoyed writing about, and writing that Kendrick story I did a couple weeks ago. I really enjoy writing as well.
I was gonna ask about that. So how does writing for the root work? So do you pick and choose? Is there a certain number of articles you have to have out per week?
Hmm.
Like how does the writing and then the process of I wrote this, edited, clear to go? How does that all work essentially?
Yeah. I think it's an interesting process because sometimes things need to be so with the route we do prioritize like getting stuff out fast. Like if something happened that day, we do want to prioritize getting something out fast. But oh, another piece. This is a perfect example. I'll tie it in. Um, so sometimes we want to focus on getting things out fast, but because we're the root, we really pride ourselves on having a voice. And okay, people don't want to necessarily read our stuff first, but they want to read it because they wonder what we're going to say about it. So, for example, um, Coolio died one day. Coolio died, and I don't remember if it was over the weekend or it happened late at night, so anybody didn't do it. But basically, Coolio died a day, and then the next morning, I was like, okay, I want to write about Coolio, and they were like, no, you should write about Coolio, and I was on the same page with my editors, and I was like, yeah, but they were like, no, don't just do something about like, okay, Coolio died at the age of 56. I think that's how old he was. I don't remember exactly, but Coolio died. He died of this. Write something about like something he did, something why what he did was important. And basically, what I wrote about, let me look it up right now. I wrote a story about the importance of Coolio's Gangsta's Paradise,
Mm.
and it was the next day, but obviously, when people think about Coolio, obviously they're going to think about that song. That was his biggest hit. I am given a lot of bandwidth to write about stories, and usually I have to write like 2 to 3 a day. But lately, we've been trying to focus on just trying to find the best stories and less about output and more of just finding better stories because then that's what people connect with. But yeah, man, I am given a lot of bandwidth to write about what I want to for the most part. It's not always that case, but yeah.
That's fair. Oh, that's real. That's what's up too.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Um,
yeah.